Welcome to the Mystic Fool. I'm Martin Worth, and this is the Mystic Fool. The laws of law. Law, L-O-R-E. There are cosmic truths that hold the fabric, I guess, of the universe together. There are also laws that hold true within the spiritual realms. One of those laws is that nothing can enter into your field without having permission to do so. So if you have energies within your field that are not beneficial to you, at some point you made an agreement to let them in. I'm pretty sure I spoke about these agreements in the very first Entities podcast that I did, but the agreements can be so subtle. The second, which will explain the first one, the second law that I want to speak about today is that when you enter into the game of another, you are subject to the rules of that game. Alright, what's the game? Well, it's just a way of saying the space, the container, but also not just that, but all of the energy that comes with that game. Imagine joining a club. Could be a bridge club, could be a meet-up group, could be a going and joining the Boy Scouts or the SES or something. Yeah. There's around the association that there is with any of those particular entities, because they are entities, they're an energetic group for a purpose. Entering into any one of those, particularly if you enter into them and sign up, you're signing up for everything that establishment, entity, whatever you want to call it, stands for. Or at least you should be. Otherwise, why are you signing up? And by signing up, I mean there's always some sort of an agreement or an initiation or, a training course, whatever. That's the agreement. So you want to go and join the SES, you make an agreement. You want to go and join the Army Reserve, you make an agreement. You go and join the Army Regulars, you make an agreement. I think you're getting my picture. Yeah. So that agreement is the permission for all the energies that exist within that game to enter your field. It's a fairly gross example, but it's a fairly easy one to grasp. Sometimes you might be interested to go to a particular meet-up group, for instance, or a meditation group or a sound healing, and you just feel like you fit in perfectly. That's cool. It resonates with your energy. And then sometimes you go to a particular meet-up group or a meditation or a sound healing and you just feel absolutely yicky. Alright, what's going on there? The energy of that particular group doesn't resonate with your energy. And that can be either positive or negative. Your energy could be a higher vibe and you're detecting some lower vibe energies in there that you don't want to associate with. Or alternatively, your lower vibe energies might be sensing the higher vibe energies there, and they're not too sure they want to mingle with that. Could be threatening for your current state of beliefs, and might be too threatening for you to actually enter into. So you see, there are these laws. When you do step into the game of another and make an agreement, simply by stepping in, you're making an agreement, then you are subject to the laws of that game. How can you step into a situation, a meet-up group, a sound healing, a meditation group? You can set your intent to be the observer. By setting your intent to be the observer of that game, you are not entering into the game, you're simply saying, hey, I'm just here for a look. And Spirit will honour that. How do you know until you go and have a look? Of course, you can feel into it with your intuition. You can get that feeling of yes or no. Or, if you're not sure, you can go and look and be the observer. It's kind of like putting a little shield around yourself when you say you're the observer. You're not entering into the game, you've come to observe the game. And in doing so, you should really tune into your intuition and decide what it is that you're sensing. There are more subtle situations also. Take a relationship, for instance, where you are wooed into the game of another. Now, it might work out fine. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. How do we get into relationships? Our energy resonates with another person. And we usually enter in with an open heart and an open trust, and our energies with that person merge and create a third form of entity, which is the relationship. A relationship is an energetic entity between two people. Sometimes you meet people that your energy just absolutely clashes with. Yeah. And then you either create a little black hole of bad feelings, or you don't connect. What about the hidden agendas that people hold, the beliefs, the ways things should be, that we all have in the back of our minds, and we meet someone and we are on our best behaviour and we like them, they like us, we enter into a relationship, and what happens next? All the little how things should be belief systems come out. This is the challenge with relationships. You need to work through those things. When you enter into the game of another, into a relationship, you're subject to the rules of that game. All right. Can the rules be negotiated? Yes, in the case of a relationship, they can be. Particularly if both parties are wanting to create a harmonious space within which to coexist, to live together, to enjoy life, to travel, to have fun. But if one or other of those partners has the intent to entrap someone into their game, let's take the narcissist for instance, then sometimes when you've made that commitment, it's a little bit too late just to back out, hey? And you get stuck in that game. And people get stuck for years. People get torn to shreds. Yeah. They made the agreement, submitted to the agreement, and were entrapped, shall we say. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I was on a call with someone who, see, the basic thing that you need to do when you do a healing session is that if you come to me, to a healer, for a healing session, you enter into their game. Now, this is a little tricky because entering into some healing practitioner's game can be kind of a bit yucky. And some are there to help. I always have a setup call where I talk to the person and tell them my intent and what we're going to do and how we're going to work it through, pretty much within whatever level the person can understand. So I do that. And having set up the intent with this particular person to clear an entity or entities for them, we then got on the Zoom call and I asked for permission to work on all levels and dimensions. And she would only do that if she put certain parameters around it. And I said, well, I can't do that because, and this is the subtle entrapment, because if I allowed her to put conditions around the session, then I was entering into her game. And it's a subtle trap for beginners, I guess. Because if I then entered into her game, it's not my game, and the rules of my game are no longer valid. If I'm going to be working with entities within her field, and I'm in her game, then I'm also subject to those entities. And I make myself vulnerable. And they ain't going to be cleared. So, yeah. And we had quite a detailed discussion around boundaries and such, and I said, yes, but the thing is, I can't enter into your boundary. You've come to me for a healing, and my intent is for your highest good. But you have to let me work within my game, otherwise this healing session won't have the result that you want. So it was a tricky one, but it was an interesting experience because, wow, some of the entities that we as a collective are dealing with in these days, they are so subtle. They are so clever. And they are so good at entrapping people. I nearly fell for that one. I'm glad I didn't. And I do send love to that person because she's stuck. Stuck. Behind walls of fear, lack of trust, need for control. Yeah. So yeah, tricky one, hey? But this is it. There are laws of law. LAWS of LORE. So be aware of these. There are about 10 of them that I'm currently aware of. And if you'd like to know more about the laws of law, particularly if you're a healer, or you meditate a lot, or you are a spiritual person who steps beyond the veil, then it's imperative that you understand the laws of law so you don't become entrapped. Because the entrapments are bountiful at this point in time. As the battle between good and evil, inverted commas around that sucker, becomes more intense in this time, as the time tracks, the timelines are separating. There are rifts here between the upper sideband and the lower sideband. There are rifts between people who are living in fear and those who are living in love. The rift is becoming bigger and bigger. As the rift becomes bigger and bigger, then those those entities that would seek to entrap people in the lower sideband are becoming more active. They're panicking, basically, because the upper sideband of love is much, much stronger. But it takes courage to jump from a position of mistrust and need for control to trusting someone to help you. It takes courage to give up some long-held beliefs that you may have held about how the world is, and understand that there is another perspective. Yeah, laws of law. So yeah, if you want to know more about the laws of law, pop me an email and I'll send you a little bit more information. Yeah, there's a whole chapter, there's a whole module in my course in spiritual mastery, and it is essential that you know these laws. Without them, you're kind of like, could be in a situation that I could have been yesterday, where the entities that this woman was wanting to clear were the very thing that was intending and trying to entrap me into that game. Don't be that healing practitioner who becomes entrapped. Learn about the laws of law. Okay, that's all for today. Take care. Tread softly. Be safe. Lots of love. Yeah, guys, just a little caveat on the end of this one. I mentioned in this episode that, to go in as an observer. Okay, you don't want to go into something that you know is evil or bad in the first place as an observer, because you're going to go straight into that game, whether you're an observer or not. There's certain things that you know are okay, and certain things you don't know are okay. And in between, there are the things you can be curious about. But yeah, keep your guard up. Be safe. Be well. And don't go where you know you shouldn't. Cheers.